And of course, but you've had plenty of time to look this up. You know exactly what teams they're on, right?
I think so. I think so.
Good luck, mate.
I think I know it already, but here we go, and we're going to go into game number 1 on 2000 atmospheres, spawning in their top right position. This man needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. The Korean Protoss playing for Kwangdong Freaks. It is Trap.
Look at this guy. He knows about the rebrand.
What was it? I thought you were going to say, look at this guy, you got it wrong.
No.
Okay.
Well done, well done. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 atmospheres ALE, it's the one-man army himself, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Proxy Rex?
Ooh, Proxy Rex indeed.
Kind of.
We see 2 gases here for ByuN, so not expecting anything fully crazy, maybe a Reaper or 2. Trap may even end up scouting it, but it's not a full commitment. It's not a barracks across the map. It's just to maybe psych your opponent out slightly. So I'm guessing we'll see. It could just even be 1 Reaper, but let's see Trap coming in. Looks like he's gearing up for a natural expansion.
Yeah, I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've casted ByuN in Sparkling Tuna Cup, but if you remember from those many TvPs that he has played in that tournament, because we have a lot of Protoss players, more often than not, ByuN will have his first racks out on the map, or outside of his base, whether it's, just outside his base here, out on the map, or at the natural location, or even at the 3rd location. More often than not, he does that just because he knows he has a reputation for proxying, and, more often than not, it's not real, but every now and then, it is real.
Yeah, that's right. And we say Trap, he's being forced to kind of look around a little bit, see if he can find the barracks. As you said, he's going to scout at that 3rd base location, probably a common spot. And he may scout this eventually. Actually, the barracks may even fly into the main before it's scouted. But factory is down, and ByuN's actually going home with his Reaper.
Yeah, it's all about that mental game. It's all about, maybe having, forcing that fear into your opponent. Obviously, because the Reaper shows up, and the probe even does barely spot that Rax. Like, Trap knows that everything is now fine, but he was forced to pop out a Zealot. This is less than ideal. Like, the risk of there actually being a proxy was there, so he had to respect that.
Yeah, and this is actually quite clever here by Trap, setting out the Zealot and the Adept. As we saw, that barracks was floating, and that the factory is also getting an add-on, so there's no units at home here, and this SCV building the natural could be in a bit of trouble. And ByuN, once Trap sees that Reaper in the main, he's going to feel pretty good, and this natural could be under some threat.
Yeah, he's going to be feeling pretty good here as the SCV is going to get taken out. The CC is going to be delayed. Oh,
and look, the Adept's going to get in.
Oh my god. No! Even delays the 2nd racks as well. Not just that, but actually gets a scout off in the main base, which honestly shouldn't have happened.
He does indeed, and he sees everything that's going on in the 2 barracks. And we see him actually now, he's even going to get a couple of SCV kills possibly. It's not until this Cyclone gets out that we're going to see, this Adept get dealt with. And meanwhile, the Reaper on the other side of the map getting a couple kills itself to kind of even things out. And Cyclone does finish up that Adept, and not the worst trade, but that natural is quite delayed.
Oh yeah, it's so delayed, and the fact that Trap was able to see the opener as well, that it's going to be a 2-Rex opener at least. There we go, as the 3rd is thrown down. Like, that was beautifully done here by Trap. And ByuN is slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, we see now, we do have a Zealot still chilling. May even cancel this, so not cancel, but force the SCV off the line. And no, it's going to delay it a little bit longer, but we see Trap already going to that blink technology and the robo. And ByuN, I feel like he needs to kind of, get something done here a bit. He is supply blocked, however, and I don't see a deeper on the way, forced to drop.
Yeah, he's forced to cool down a little bit of supply in the main base to get out of that supply block. Things are just not going well for ByuN at all in game 1, and things are going to get even harder, right? Trap is getting a 3rd base up and running. Once Blink is done, he's going to be safe and sound. To be fair, the one thing that Trap doesn't know is that there is a 3rd Rax, but he can kind of assume that a little bit as well after seeing 2. The possibility is there in his mind.
Yeah, and at the moment, things are looking very good for Trap. We do see, however, with those 3 barracks, there's that potential to go for a push, and it looks like he's going to move out now before that second tank, but luckily Trap's going to scout this pretty much just off the back and blink away here without too much damage, so it looks like now the ball is in ByuN's court, the third base is up for Trap, and he is going to need to defend that location. Shield battery going down.
It's one of those things where does he even need to defend that location? We'll see if it's like acceptable losses or not. Meanwhile, he even confirms where the army is. Oh no, who is it? Oh, okay. a little bit latency there in game. Hopefully everything's okay as ByuN is pushing out. We do see a couple more units being morphed in, and again, ideally Trap forces a siege up, but not yet. Finally sieges up outside the third.
Man, ByuN really wants to protect that tank. The Stalkers can blink on it and really severely damage the limitations of this push. There's 2 shield batteries. They will, however, be out of range. The extra tank coming in can help him push, but with the super battery popped and the Immortal, it looks like Trap is going to jump on this army.
Yeah, that he is. The Immortal does focus on that tank. The tank does fall in the end. We do have the overcharge as well, keeping said Immortal alive. Second tank will show up, but it's a little bit too late, and it's not even sieged, mate.
Yeah, and that's it. And ByuN's going to call GG as Trap holds the push very comfortably, really.
Yeah. Trap was in complete control of that game ever since the beginning. Even with ByuN going for a bit of a fake proxy there at the start, a pseudo proxy, it didn't even matter. Trap, he was able to kind of work with it anyway, especially with that initial zealot. That was amazing.
Yeah, we saw Trappy really kind of identified what ByuN was doing. The scout onto the factory, really important as well. It allowed him to kind of understand he can send units across, and there's just a Reaper. And, the Reaper can deal with the Zealot, but once that Adept shows up too, he has to wait until the Cyclone. So, very good play there by Trap, very good game sense as well. And ByuN, we'll have to see if he does something similar, or if he throws, caution to the wind and goes for a really different mix-up altogether.
Yeah. Do you think ByuN will have his first Rex not in his main?
Yes.
Do you think it's going to be a dedicated proxy?
No.
Okay.
But Trap doesn't know that, so maybe he should dedicate proxy,
Maybe,
we'll see.
maybe.
It is Berlingrad.
That it is. And of course, this is going to be game number 2. Trap only needs 1 more to move on to the grand finals. ByuN, he is now up against the wall.
Indeed, and here we go, spawning into map number 2 of this best of 3. In the top left position, it is the red Protoss playing for Guangdong Freaks. Can he close out the series versus this very strong Terran opponent? It is Trap.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. He may be down 0-1 in this series, but he can totally bring it back. It is ByuN.
Alright, do you see what I see?
I see a Rax in the main, mate.
I see culminations of my failure as a predictor. Yes.
I mean, it lines up quite nicely with like the way that you bet and stuff. It makes sense.
just go for it, exactly. Yeah, we see Trap, however, he did scout his third base location before actually going across the map, so maybe ByuN getting the slight edge in the mind games here. We do see, however, Trap going for that wall off at the Little Reaper jump up spot, so maybe wanting to go for some tricky tech. Maybe it's standard, maybe it's Maybelline. We'll just have to find out.
Is Maybelline even still a thing?
I don't know, like, considering how well they advertise it, I said that I think they should be.
They should be. Oh my god. Can you believe that there are people out there, like, I think Oreo doesn't know what Maybelline is. Like, he'd be like, what?
Unbelievable. These young spring chickens.
I know, right?
Here we go. Marine opener here
Duckling.
for ByuN. Ducklings indeed. Yes, here's a duckling, not a spring chicken. But one little small caveat to see here. Trap with that probe did not scout if it was a Marine or Reaper, and right now ByuN may reveal. No, not quite, but we have a Stalker on the way for Trap.
Oh, let's go. Meanwhile, ByuN, he is going for that tech lab on that Rax, and it is for concussive shell marauders. Very nice. I mean, we'll see if ByuN is going to be able to keep this hidden. It looks like he will, especially with this patrolling marine. The probe should not get up that ramp.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go toe-to-toe with ByuN's Micro Marine versus Probe, as we see the first Marauder popping out now. Just going to keep it above the ramp, keep it a bit safe. With the Stalker opener, however, you know, maybe for 2 or 3 or more orders, he can catch Trap off guard here. There is no shield battery yet, and Trap actually is going to send the Stalker across the map, and if he's not careful, that could get caught.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, Trap is helping ByuN out. He mines out that mineral patch, especially because ByuN is going for a 3-rack. So even though this is a little bit terrifying with these 2 initial marauders, as they're going to catch the Stalker. Up, they want to. Trap sees. He's running away.
Yeah, very good reaction time there by Trap, and the Adept coming in too. Maybe wanted to go around, but no, he's going to cancel and back off, and maybe just seeing that one Marine, you know, when there should probably be more Marines or a bunker, tipped him off a little bit. But we just see ByuN not fully committing here, getting a bunker and engineering bay at home, and there is no shield battery at this natural, so it's going to be 2 Marauders versus 2 Stalkers and a Adept.
Yeah, the macro is good enough there where one of the Marauders already gets picked up. They did trade a Marauder for a Stalker, but in the end this will be cleaned up. But that's okay, because this is step 1 of a 2-step plan, because again, it is a 3-racks follow-up. There's an NG bait for +1 as well. This is going to hit hard, and this is still unscouted.
Yeah, indeed. And meanwhile, you know, ByuN, he didn't get the most damage with his push there, but however, he did keep Trap on the back foot. And now Trap, sitting back at home, he's going to send the Adept out to scout and a probe, even dropping a proxy pylon too. And he's going to go into Blink here. And from what I've heard, like, 3-racks can be quite decent against Blink, especially when you have some Marauders with concussive shell.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have any Marauders with concussive. Look, we don't have any Marauders, but I'm sure ByuN will mix them in at some point. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. As he is still working on that army. Again, it's going to be on Trap to either, you know, get a bit of a shade into the main and scout this, or maybe go for a. Oh my God! What?
And yeah, Trap, he does indeed manage to get in, scout the 3 barracks. He knows exactly what is going on now. And we see he's actually going to move out here, like, with these, I believe they're Stalkers. Yep, just to keep on the toe of the army, as we know there's no medevacs with this push.
Yeah.
So that's very bad, very poor kind of reveal there for ByuN. But we'll have to see what transpires next.
Yeah, a little bit of miscontrol there. I don't know if it just he tried to lift up the depot as the SCV was going down the ramp at the time, so it was kind of like a little bit of unfortunate timing there. But now Trap sees everything. He is now preparing himself, and again, being aggressive like this with your Stalkers is exactly what you want to be, because like this bio army has a little doesn't have the most longevity without medevacs.
Yeah, indeed. And there is the bunker, which is good because we're not going to see any move out until these 2 until the 2 Marauders finish from that Tech Lab barracks. But we see a stim being forced there. I'm not sure if that was a good move by ByuN, because you're never going to chase down Blink Stalkers, and that's, you know, some damage on your Marines you're not going to be able to get back.
Yeah, like, the Trap is happy with that. If he forces another stim, that's going to be amazing. That's exactly what he wants. Meanwhile, forced to blink back, but he does take out... Oh my God, another... ByuN?
Yeah, it looks like he wanted to catch Trap off guard there, but it looks like it's not going to happen. And ByuN, I'm not sure this buy is so messed up. I don't think he can move out. He's making a medevac, but maybe holding the top of the ramp here. At least he does have that ramp control, but this buy is very bruised. Like,
Very bruised, mate. That's a nice way to put it, mate. Meanwhile, we're gonna see Blink into the main. That'd be crazy. The Observer does get taken out, and this is great because now Trap won't have eyes on when ByuN exactly moves out across the map. So he's a little bit in the dark in that respect. He's still obviously active here in the middle of the map, though. He still does have some spotter units here just in case that does happen. But Colossus is on the way. I feel like once a Colossus comes out, that may just be the end of ByuN's aggression.
I mean, Colossus, very good choice. His Marines are already a bit bruised up, and ByuN not even waiting to kind of heal up his buy. He's just going to go straight across, then use the 2 extra medevacs with the rest of his buy army, maybe for a bit of multi-prong. And this is probably, even though he's in a tough spot, the best kind of opportunity he'll have to kind of, as Trap takes that 3rd base. But it's with these Stalkers in the middle of the map. Actually, this move out late, I feel like ByuN's making some questionable choices this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he feels pressure to deal damage just because of how aggressive his opener was. He does go for a double drop, but the Stalkers are already waiting, and they're ready to just focus down those medevacs. Oh, never mind. We do see him trade instead, and the drop is getting a little bit of damage, and at the same time, in comes the main army, but the Colossus is ready and waiting.
Yeah, indeed. And there's 3 Marauders, however, some pick up Micah by ByuN, and he's going to get on top of these Stalkers. Decent trade, but Trap's going to warp in some more units that should be able to clean this up. And it looks like ByuN now is going to be going across the map. Oh, now he's going back home. And he's going to be trying to secure his third base behind this pressure.
Yeah, meanwhile, it looks like this drop may get picked up. Okay, never mind. There are no Stalkers with this army, so ByuN should be able to escape with what he has. We'll bleed out a couple of units, though, in the end. Okay, thankfully, Sentry that DPS isn't that high. It's okay. He at least keeps the medvacs alive. But I'm sure he was hoping that he would be able to pull away the majority of Trap's army into the main base with that drop and maybe, you know, go for a 1-2 punch. Unfortunately, Colossus was waiting at the third, and unfortunately, ByuN just didn't deal any economic damage.
Yeah, and we see, even though Blink has been researched, you know, there's 7 Stalkers on the map, Colossus coming in, and I'm not sure if there's going to be enough Stalkers here to clean up this push, and meanwhile he's pushing at the third base, apologies, at the same time. He's going to hold this, but that Immortal's dragged back, and ByuN, he has a bit more micro potential here than Trap, but it looks like Blink, he may be able to slap a medevac, but he's just getting everywhere now.
Yeah, I mean, this is great, you know, a couple of workers are getting picked off, but as you said, with enough of these Stalkers, like, these drops are going to be cleaned up in the end, and again, Trap is able to defend up multiple places at once with very few units. Honestly, pretty impressive. Shield batteries and overcharge, of course, playing their role in this, and soon that War Prism is going to be done, and soon it's going to be Trap's turn to be the aggressor.
Yeah, and it looks like ByuN, he's gonna, you know, sit back now. He's not kind of content to keep throwing units at this Protoss player, trying to find damage. He's gonna get a Ghost Academy, get a good Viking count. It looks like he's content to kind of sit back, add some tanks as well, and just kind of go toe to toe with this Protoss army. And tanks are a good choice against Colossus, but when there's, you know, already 2 Colossus out and you're only in 1 factory and your first tank's finished, it can be a little bit scary. But at the very least, ByuN probably won't see him move out again for some time until he gets his tank count up, and in the meantime, Trap is going to be taking the initiative now.
Yeah, and I love how ByuN is setting up defensively. We have missile towers, we have sensor towers, we have depots as well. Like, all of this is to help reduce surface area and to help keep an eye on where the army of Trap is. So this is kind of best case scenario for ByuN. I also love how he's been prioritizing these Vikings, so he's going to have plenty of anti-air to focus down those Colossus.
And if we look at our Trap's army, it's very kind of gateway based and a bit of a choke point here. Tank going to get a couple shots off, and yeah, Trap will want to back off there. Looks like he's just posturing as he takes his 4th base, keeping tabs on ByuN's army. And meanwhile, Disruptors is going to be their tech of choice. And just like Colossus, you know, tanks are reasonable against Disruptors, but we know how good Disruptors can be like, don't we?
We saw how well they were earlier in the first series of the day, and they can make or break Terran armies. Oh boy, but ByuN is pushing out now, and there's only going to be 1 disruptor on the map for the time being. Trap is trying to get his 2nd roadway up and running, but there is maybe a window here where ByuN can push in before there are too many disruptors.
Yeah, indeed. And meanwhile, we see Trap is setting up for what looks like a Zealot run by at the 3rd base. Luckily, ByuN, it looks like he's rallying. No, he's pulled back his units. He's going to be rallying to the 3rd, seeing those units with the Watchtower, and he would deal with this. But this is buying time for Trap, and when you're going up against, you know, double disruptor, you kind of want to get across the map ASAP.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Now we have 2 disruptors being pumped out at a time. That window that I was talking about is closing here for ByuN. He's pushing out. We'll see if he's going to be able to find this or catch this army a little bit off guard. No, Trap, he does see. First EMP does miss. Trap does back off.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what angle ByuN tries to take here. He's got 3 tanks now. 3 tanks, a very healthy count. Never mind. He's got no tanks.
Oh god.
Yeah, the one saving grace is both those disruptors going off allows him to be a bit more aggressive. But a 3rd comes into the fray light, and ByuN's got his tail between his legs. He has to go home.
Yeah, exactly. The 3rd Nova goes off, and it does force ByuN back. Another Nova going off as well. Doesn't quite connect with anything quite yet. At the same time, Trap is in the main base with that War Prism, and SCVs are going down left and right.
Yeah, fantastic movement here by Trap, putting pressure on the main army, and while ByuN is distracted, coming into the main of ByuN as well. And even though ByuN, he does have a sizable force, just this triangle 3rd is going to get bullied as well. It's just more taxing on ByuN's multitasking as he has to kind of reset his tank count, and it looks like he's just going to be going for ghosts instead.
Yeah, meanwhile, ByuN's main army is turned all the way back around. Trap, he's going to try and take advantage of ByuN being a little bit out of position, but no, ByuN does take notice. He does scan the army, but oh my god, that's a lot of disruptors.
It is, and even though Trap's army is very potent in kind of like tight spaces and in these choke points, if he gets caught in the open, you know, ByuN could really jump on it, and there's a healthy Viking count to do with those two Colossus, so the Disruptors will kind of be the flavour of the engagement, and it looks like these Zealot run-bys in the main as well, just relentless by Trap, he's just pegging ByuN back.
Oh my god, the Zealots are just so damn good. ByuN will eventually clean this up, but the Zealots have more than paid for themselves. At the same time, Trap is looking for that fight. Doesn't go for it quite yet, but again, it doesn't even matter because the damage is being done on one side or the other. Ghost Academy gets sniped!
Oh, it does indeed, and a Ghost getting sniped there as well. Takes the Disruptor, and getting these upgrades too is quite big as ByuN. Trap can afford to do this, he has a 4th base, but ByuN's kind of stuck on 3 bases, even recalling the Zealots. A cute little move there, and Trap is just roaming the map like he owns it, and ByuN, he's forced to lift up his 4th base. His buy is a bit bruised. As this game goes on, it's looking better and better for Trap.
I'm shocked by how much damage those Zealots did, by the way. They killed an Armory, an NG Bay, a Ghost Academy, and the War Prism survived. Like, it's crazy. On top of that, SCVs have been falling left and right as well. Meanwhile, in comes the main army. More Ghosts getting sniped by the Purification Novas. ByuN is having a really hard time again against this ground toss army. Ideally, you want to be transitioning, especially after all these Vikings, into Liberators, but it's a little bit too late. And ByuN Trap now he's knocking on the front door.
Yeah, if you look at the kind of Disruptor counter Trap here now, you can kind of, you know, tax ByuN's attention like pretty much forever. He's got so many Disruptors, and if you look at the map vision too, he's going to find this 4th base at the 6 o'clock position. DT's forcing the lift off, and with the posturing of Trap, you know, this map, it's quite choky, and ByuN just can't find an angle to engage this Protoss army.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the War Prism does pull away the attention of ByuN once again. We may end up in a base trade here as both armies do miss each other, and ByuN is not going to be turning around. Neither is Trap, but of course Trap does have recall available.
Yeah, indeed, and keep in mind he also has Dark Templar available, and losing that 4th base there of ByuN, which had enough energy. You know, he's banking energy on these other, he's actually got quite a few scans, but ByuN has to find this Dark Shrine and take it out, but it looks like there's so much infrastructure. I feel like this is really good for Trap as he's pegging back this Terran force.
Oh my god, and the Novas, they just find the best connections possible at the same time. And we're just waiting for that moment. If there ever is going to be that recall, the natural base is going to go down. There is still the main, there is still the 5th as well. If Trap ever wants to go for it. Meanwhile, he even has a couple of pylons being thrown down around the map. So, I mean, he still has buildings all over the place. We are full base trade.
Yeah, unironically, I feel like ByuN should float a building to like the corner of the map, because there is no Stargate tech here for Trap as he decimates the SCV population in his main, and ByuN's doing the same on those SCVs, but he accepts his fate. And GG, Trap is going to take the 2-0 in this series and head to the grand final.
Oh my god. GG, well played. Congratulations to Trap for taking that series in honestly a pretty dominating fashion. Oh, that was brutal. It also felt, to be honest, it also felt like ByuN was just a little bit, I don't know how to phrase it, but a little bit maybe uncomfortable, a little bit afraid of his opponent. I don't know, like especially in the early game as well. Like we saw some very antsy stims. Like I don't know if he was nervous. But yeah, a little bit uncharacteristic.
Yeah, it may have been he knew that he had to kind of do something, maybe, you know, kind of catch his opponent off guard, but when you're playing someone as good as Trap and you stim forward, and maybe it was an accidental stim, he might have, you know, meant to stim just a few units, but he stimmed his whole army, and at that point, when your build order revolves around a push, you know, that waits for stim to finish, it's kind of no damage done. His tech was delayed, his starport was delayed, and we saw Trap just kind of comfortably, you know, worked his way into the game and expanded, and he took a very, very convincing victory in that second game too, despite it being a base trade. So yeah, unfortunate for ByuN, but I'm sure he'll definitely put up a strong showing in the bronze match.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hopefully we are able to see that bronze match as well. Fingers crossed. As I know, bronze place matches aren't the most common thing, but hopefully he is aware and we are able to get a little bit more ByuN later on today.
Indeedly do, and here we go. It looks like we are going to go into our second semi-final to determine the next finalist. It will be between Into the Farmy, who's had some pretty impressive results so far, and Team GP Prince.